Good morning, and welcome to another episode of A Conversation with Father Orsi. I'm BC Cloutier, chairman of the board of the Action for Life Sunlight Home, and this is Father Michael Orsi. Hello, Father.
Hello, my man.
Everything good?
So far?
Glad to hear.
So good. But you got like a topic this morning that's a little bit disturbing.
It is. We're going to talk about all of the attacks that are occurring and have occurred against houses of worship in the United States. And, you know, there have been several recently, and this is what kind of got me on the topic. And, you know, I went to search online, and let me just give you some stats, and then we'll get into the conversation. I don't want to bore you with statistics, but some of these are just mind-blowing. The first mass shooting in the modern era occurred back in 1980, 45 years ago. And that was Sunday services at the First Baptist Church in Dangerfield, Texas. 5 people killed, 10 injured. That shooting was prompted by revenge involving a criminal domestic issue. So from 1996 to 2000, only 1% of mass shootings were motivated by religious hate. 1%. 2000 to 2014, 9% were motivated by religious hate. From 2018 to 2020, that number has jumped to 17%. So 17% of these mass shootings are against some sort of religious worship. There's no single profile, but there are similar characteristics of a mass shooter who commits these crimes, specifically at a house of worship. Almost 3/4 are white. All were men. 64% were single. Nearly 2/3 had criminal records and a violent history. And also nearly 2/3 had experienced serious childhood trauma. 27% of the perpetrators in the house of worship shootings expressed racism toward people of color, and 46% were just motivated by religious hate, including anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and anger at Catholics and Christians. I mean, these are really extraordinarily troubling statistics, Father.
They are. They're frightening statistics. And just what you read there alone, the numbers of attacks on houses of worship, it's puzzling. Basically, we're seeing this since the 1980s. It's not that long ago. And we've got to ask ourselves, what has happened to society during this time period? Say a 50-year time period. What has agitated or influenced people to focus their anger and rage on religion?
Here's one interesting thing. You can't blame it on social media because this started in 1980.
Right, yeah, you can't.
So you could blame it on social media today, but the issue existed long before we had all of this hate online.
Yeah. I have come to the conclusion, a lot of people don't want to deal with this or talk about this, thinking that it's, old-fashioned, superstitious. I believe that Satan is behind a lot of it. Yeah. We've tried to find all kinds of reasons why a certain person did a certain thing to a certain church. Why did you try to bomb the church? Why did you decide to shoot people in church? People today want to be sophisticated and find reasons as to why this happened, but reasons that they can explain simply scientifically, if I could use that, in a materialistic sense.
Logically, yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be like, for instance, the reason why this happened was because the person had a mental problem. Well, why do you have a mental problem just against this church? I mean, why don't you just go, just facetiously, why don't you just go shoot somebody else? And why a church? All right. Why do people decide that they're going to go and shoot people at prayer? Why at people at prayer in churches? I mean, we recently had a case in Minnesota, They say this was a school attack. No, it wasn't a school shooting. It was a church.
It was school kids in church. Yeah.
Praying. And this person wanted to make sure that he killed people in church at prayer, including children. Now, there may be a psychological problem. There may be. But the devil works through various means and in various ways. At the root, I believe that it's the demonic that gets into the mind of the person. And the demonic then is the one that instructs the person to carry out this heinous act against people of faith. Underneath it all is an attack against God, because what are people doing in church? They are worshiping God, and what you want to do is you want to hurt God's children who are made in His image, and to foolishly think that you are spiting God.
I think it's interesting, Father, that there's on both the left and the right, admittedly the extremes in both instances, people who accuse the other side of trying to create a civil war, even a worldwide war, right? And these are people that probably are agnostic or atheistic, because I think the devil is doing this. The devil is pitting us against each other.
Oh, sure.
And, I have to wonder how many people who are survivors, who are relatives of people who were killed in mass shootings, blame God.
Yeah.
We know about people who blame God because of misfortune. And we've talked about that in this program. But, I share your view that there is Satan is very much present in this whole deal. And I wonder if Satan isn't trying to pit us all against the other, so
Could
that
be.
it's thrown away.
Satan just finds a crack where he can enter. And so you say, well, a lot of these people, have been influenced by the internet. They've been influenced to do this. Okay, person is watching this over and over and over again, already has some kind of a mental problem, or is holding a grudge against society, is filled with anger, whatever the case may be, and Satan said, okay, let's use this to further my goals of destroying human beings. And Satan then finds an entrance into that person's life, and then carries it out in a spectacular way, because it gets the attention of the world. Look at this thing that happened. It is a spectacular act of what evil does. And Satan just loves that. You remember the World Trade Towers? I could forget it. They went down. And I remember I saw a picture of the towers. They were going on fire. And I think it was one of the New York papers. I think I saw it. And there was a picture superimposed of the devil with his arms out, laughing at the towers going down. And I said to myself, yeah, that's not just an ideology that hates humanity. That's Satan who wants to destroy humanity. So it's bigger than politics. It's bigger than mental illness. It's, to me, folks, it's bigger than any religion. Any religion that glories in the destruction of other human beings is not a religion. It's not of God. It's a religion of Satan, but it's not of the God of love that we know God to be.
I'm with you 100%. But it's interesting that so many people have rejected God or ignored God. Maybe not rejected. I mean, we all run into people who say, "Hey, I'm Catholic. When's the last time you went to church?" We were there Easter.
Yeah.
Right? It seems to me that if there were more of God's influence throughout our society, some of these things wouldn't occur. Now, maybe that's Pollyanna-ish. I don't know. But I think that when people are involved with God on a close basis, they don't do things like that.
Well, as society becomes more and more secularized, religion has less and less influence
My point
on
exactly.
our society. And once again, there's the crack that Satan gets into because a person then living in this kind of a society that is filled with secular ideas does not have that notion that life is sacred, that God is the creator, the teachings of the Bible, the Ten Commandments, all of those things begin to fade into the background. And if you go to a school that does not have God in their program, to some extent, even a prayer, well, it's the devil's playground. And I've seen so many examples of where when God moves out, the devil moves in. And there was a picture I saw once of somebody. There was a shooting. We had it right here in Florida, the Stoneman School.
Oh, yeah.
Parkside and Stoneman School.
Stone.
Yeah. And anyway, there's somebody's questioning God. Why did you let this happen? Why did you let this happen? Because I didn't let this happen. He said, evil is in the world. Nobody was challenging this. How do you put it? Evil has not been challenged. And where were you? And God says, I tried to get into the school. They wouldn't let me in.
Well, there you go.
I tried, but they wouldn't let me in.
Let me ask you a hypothetical, and this may be impolitic, but what happens if you're hearing a confession and someone comes to you and says, Father, I'm going to shoot up whatever.
Uh-huh.
What do you do in that? I mean, that's a huge ethical issue, isn't it?
Not really.
Okay.
It's not a confession. A confession is for what you have done.
Aha.
So if somebody comes in and says to me, I just shot a number of people someplace, okay? I can't turn that person in.
Right.
Okay? That's confession. This is a sin I've committed. I've killed somebody, whatever the case may be. However, if a person comes in and says, I'm going to do this, you're not confessing a sin. You're telling me what you plan to do. And then I have an obligation to say,
Okay.
And that's if I know who the person is. I mean,
Right.
if I don't know who the person is, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
But, knowing me, I'd probably go chase them down the street. You're not doing that. Oh, no, you're not.
Well, I would think that would be a very, very, very difficult situation, but I'm sure that priests have faced similar situations.
Yeah. For somebody to come and say what I'm going to do, and they know it's bad, I mean, they're really mocking God. That's mocking God,
Well, I would think, again, we're talking about a hypothesis, but I would think someone who did that is really coming to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why would they not?
Exactly.
Oh.
So, you'd have a moral obligation to get to that person and, to turn them in if you know who they are.
Mm-hmm. But with a confession, it's just sealed, right?
Right. That's it. Period. If somebody comes in and says, I just shot 3 people, and I'm sorry that I did it. That's it. My lips are sealed.
And that's true. Well, I guess we go on forever. I was going to say that's true if somebody comes in and says, Father, there's a unsolved crime from 3 years ago, and I'm the perpetrator. Mm-hmm. An unsolved murder, let's say.
All right.
If the confession is sealed. Right?
Sealed. What you should do is encourage the person to turn themselves in.
Right.
This would be the right thing to do, but you can't force them to do that either.
Well, as long as we're going down the hypothetical trail, now, if someone makes that confession, but does not turn themselves in, are they absolved from the sin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could give them a penance. You have to offer up these prayers or, make a donation or something like that. But you can't say your penance is to turn yourself in. The person came to be forgiven. You can forgive them their sins. The person didn't come to be turned in.
That's a beautiful thing, Father. because someone can actually come and confess their sin, no matter how heinous it is, and know that they're protected from the law.
Right.
They still have to deal with God.
And, you have people that in certain states, they've tried to break the seal of confession, saying that, for instance, these cases of pedophilia, and that they would say that the priest, somebody confesses pedophilia, the priest has to turn the person in. And I think that was in Washington State or Oregon, one of those states. And the bishops out there fought it tooth and nail. Oh, no, you're not. And we mean, oh, no, you're not. I mean, we'd have to go to jail before we can, turn somebody in for a confession, no matter how heinous the sin may be.
Well, and if you disclose that, that's at that point you're excommunicated, right?
Excommunicated.
Yeah.
It's one of the. I think there are 5 sins that are reserved to the Pope because of person had committed a sin is excommunicated, and they're reserved to the Pope. 5 are reserved to the Pope, and that's one of them, breaking the seal of confession.
Wow. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. We'll get back to a conversation with Father Orsi in just a moment. But right now, I'd like to talk to you about the cost of producing and airing this television program, which amounts to about $3,000 per episode. Now, that includes the production costs and the airtime, but $150,000 a year is a pretty big hill to climb. And I'm here to ask for your help. We think that you enjoy the program, at least that's what we hear. The board of directors believes that this is a very good investment. I hope you feel that way too, obviously. What I'd ask for is that you consider contributing to actionforlife.org. You can go online, you can contribute once, you can contribute on a monthly basis, and we are more than glad for either. Whatever's appropriate in your circumstances. But again, please go to actionforlife.org and make a tax-deductible contribution to keep a conversation with Father Orsi on the air. Thank you so much, and God bless to you and yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've always heard about Abraham Lincoln saying that America is the last best hope of the world. Keep that in mind. A lot of us these days do not appreciate our country or are letting ourselves fall short of what America is supposed to be and what America can be. We live in a society today which does not hold the same values that our founders had and what Abraham Lincoln held so dearly. Go back on history, see what they said, and to know who we are. Pass that on to your children. It is a matter of salvation, saving our country, and sometimes even means saving our souls, because America is a light to the world. Let us continue to pray for our country and to vote for those people who hold in their minds and hearts the vision of our founders, of Abraham Lincoln, and of Ronald Reagan.
Welcome back to a conversation with Father Orsi. I'm BC Cloutier. We were, during the break, Father and I were talking about, well, first of all, I suspect there are people that are afraid to go to church or to any public event for fear of being attacked without, provocation.
Right. Yeah.
But certainly in houses of worship, given all that's going on, and if you just think about it, there was the synagogue in Pittsburgh.
Sure. Terrible.
We talked about Minnesota, the church, the kids.
There was a church in Memphis. There was a black church, and they were shot to death in church.
Right.
And that church was so magnificent, they said, we forgive the person that did this. Yeah. Well, there's a Mormon church in Michigan.
I was just going to say,
And they offered forgiveness, and they took up a collection for the family of the shooter.
Last time I knew it, or last time I saw the number, was over $300,000.
Yeah, and I mean, that flies in the face of Satan. The only way you overcome Satan is by love and prayer. That's only love overcomes hatred. And we're dealing with hatred here. This is hatred.
Father, I talked about her before. I had a cousin, Sister Cecile, who went into the convent when she was like 17 years old. But we redeveloped a relationship later in life. She passed away 3-4 years ago. She always said to me, if we just love one another, we can solve all the problems of the world.
It's true.
It's so simple and yet so true.
Right. It's true.
But speaking of attacks in houses of worship, you're okay if I...
Oh, well.
Father was on the altar.
I've taken it before. I'll take it again.
Father was on the altar at St. Agnes presiding at Mass, and in the back of the church in the narthex, someone dropped a chair. Boom! And I will admit, it sounded like gunfire.
It did.
So, everybody kind of turned around. Father ducked behind the altar. And then we realized what it was. And
but you didn't tell them how I came up from the altar.
I don't remember.
Fight!
Frankly, I think I was cowering in the pew myself.
But that was only like a couple of weeks after shooting someplace in a church.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what church it was, but I heard that and I said, holy cow. I mean, I know some folks are out for me, and I'm not paranoid. But I mean, that sounded just like a bullet coming my way.
Well, this being Florida, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are packing, even when they attend Mass.
Right.
So.
And, one of the things that the devil wants is for people to stop going to church.
Sure.
Yeah. So let me just say this, folks. I have been visiting different churches from time to time. And I'm in disguise. I have the big nose and the mustache.
Different denominations, not Catholic churches.
Yeah, different denominations and some Catholic churches. And I got the glasses with the big eyebrows, that
Groucho.
Yeah, Groucho routine. And most churches now have security. You see armed officers, guards in the churches at the doors.
How sad is that?
It really is. It really, really is. And some have more than one. The other thing that, just because you don't see them in church doesn't mean that they are not there. They can be in plain clothes.
Right.
So that you don't know that they're there, but they are there. Take it as a fact from Father O. They are there.
Just like air marshals.
That's right. They are there. So if you're thinking, I'm afraid to go to church, somebody could come in and shoot me. Folks, we have it under control, okay? We're not, just saying it's not going to happen. We are taking precautions to make sure that people are safe going to church, going to the synagogue, going to the mosque, wherever you worship. I'm sure that your pastors and bishops are taking care of people. The worst thing you could do is stop going. And that's basically what they want. They want people to stop going to church. Why? Because God is a threat to evil. Jesus Christ and his love, a threat to evil, hatred. And that's the devil's, that's his code word. That's who he is. He is hatred.
There's a great story about a church shooting in Texas, I think a small town Baptist church, where a perpetrator got up and a congregant got up and went, boom. That was the end of that.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about Texas, which makes Florida look like, a playland when it comes to guns and people packing. But
well, it's legal to pack in Florida.
Now you don't even need it concealed. You can
Right.
put it right on your hip.
Right. Yeah. So, I'm not telling you go to church, all weaponized. Believe me, I'm not. Personally, I don't want a gun. I don't have a gun. I don't want a gun. Personally, I don't. Is it sometimes
It's
worthwhile to pack, especially, you're licensed, you know what you're doing. You're not just going to shoot up anybody that, sneezes in church. But you have to be a real present danger.
It's sad that we have to do that, but it's, as you say, armed officers
Right.
at the doors of the church. Now, I don't think, at least in our diocese, I don't think we've gone that far yet.
Oh, I've seen a few.
But you have?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have not, but I know there are plainclothes people
Right.
wandering around prepared to take appropriate action if it's necessary.
One of the things
forbid.
that I think is important too, and we tell this to, if you see something suspicious or someone suspicious, tell us about it. And for a while, I recall that there are people standing at the doors of the churches. And if somebody comes in carrying a knapsack or something that looks like an umbrella, but you're not sure it's an umbrella, say something about it. Better be safe than sorry. So you alert somebody, say, hey, look, this guy just came in here. He's never been here before. He's coming in with a knapsack,
Right.
or he's coming in with a big box. And you wonder what this is all about. Say something about it. We have to work together. And there should be people in the churches, especially in the lobbies, the narthex, all those places where there's somebody in control that's going to say, yeah, let me ask that person, excuse me, could we see what you have in that bag? Or can you leave the bag outside?
Well, Father, I think we just have to pray that all this nonsense comes to an end. It's
Folks, it's evil. It's just
evil.
plain evil. That's the root of the problem. The root of the problem is Satan himself. Why does Satan want to shoot up people in church? Because he hates God. Human beings are made in the image and likeness of God. He wants to destroy human life. He wants to stop people from going to church. That's what Satan wants. Don't ever, ever give in to that. Don't ever get into that, because then you are giving him exactly what he wants. If you're afraid, call up your church, ask the pastor, ask the parish manager. Security in your church, 99% of the time, they're going to say, don't worry, we have security here, and you'll be fine.
Pray for peace, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for being here. We hope you'll be here again next week, same time, same place. Until then, I'm BC Cloutier, wishing you a great week, and God bless.